Hey, Brenda, good afternoon to you too, my dear. Good to see you here. Here comes Dominic.
Good morning. Good evening.
Yes. Good evening to you too, sir.
Yep. I'll only be on for a short half hour. I've got another appointment to go to, but I thought I'd just come in and say hello to everybody.
Well, I'm glad you came in because everybody's been asking about where's Dominic? Where's Dominic?
Yeah, I know.
You can only spread yourself so thin, you know?
Exactly.
And here comes our other favorite friend, Captain Joe.
Good morning,
Good evening.
good afternoon, and there's no good evening yet.
Oh, okay. What's up?
What's up?
Hello, Brenda.
The interesting thing was I got a ship today that almost hit the bridge.
Yeah, I saw that video. Yeah,
Really?
that got really
High,
close.
high or to the side?
Huh? To the side.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
From where
almost
I
hit the
was
seawall.
flying, you know where I usually sit over there?
Yeah,
You go down the railing,
no, I don't know.
you could reach out and touch the side of the
yeah, it was about that close.
Yeah, I don't know where you sit over there. No. What?
Hello, Randy.
Oh, you think I'm gonna get mad or something and give you a treat because I'm talking to somebody, huh? You need to go.
Everybody was talking about it.
I saw
Oh,
it.
he was playing chicken. That's all he was doing.
Well, I think he had some kind of mechanical problems myself.
Now, if he'd have started hitting that horn, you'd be getting that video. He had one of them was cruise ship uh coming into New Orleans years ago. And it was coming in, and as it was getting closer to the dock, it lost its rudder or something where it couldn't turn. Man, he started hitting that. Telling
Yeah.
everybody, get out the way, and he took that whole dock out.
No.
Yeah, they had somebody out there with a cell phone getting all that video. Yeah, I just been here talking to my son most of the day, and looks like if he can, he's got a lot of friends coming to his aid right now to help him that he knows that think this is bullshit that's taking so long to get hired. And he, like I said, he's got stuff for sale now up on Facebook. And if Nick comes back and tells him come up now, he's leaving in about a week. So he might be going up to North Carolina. He put in the application. They asked him, they came back and they said he got his application. When is the soonest he could start? He said June 16th. So he's got to go up there and do interviews, but he hasn't got the interview dates yet. He said he'd be traveling up there within the next 2 weeks to live with his brother in New Bern until he could get his job, you know?
Hmm.
So looks like I'm losing him.
Really?
It means I keep my apartment. It means I keep getting that girl back and forth without anybody knowing.
Mm.
The ironic part about it is that the neighbor across the hall moved out and the neighbor next to me moved out. They got new ones coming in. And I just knew if he moved in here, it was gonna be about my age and she's gonna be totally lonely and hot. And then I'm gonna have to deal with Justin being here. So now it's gonna be some old woman in there, and I'm gonna not want to deal with her. Watch.
Mm.
I was holding my dog a little while ago. I got hair all over me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
shave
hate
all
that.
your hair up. I'm gonna make you look like a chihuahua. I keep threatening that, that I'm gonna. She's got that long hair, and this time of year she sheds. It's all over the place.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
Jason.
Jason's here.
Uh-oh. Oh, watch out. Watch out. Watch out. Watch out.
Hello, Jason.
Good to see you guys. How is
Yes.
everyone?
Kitchen on deck.
Carry on, yes, sir. Carry on, carry on.
Yep, carry on.
You on your way home?
Woo. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm on my way home. It's
Well,
rare
good
that I
for
get to
you.
leave at 5 o'clock, so I'm happy that I am.
Dude, I've been watching Jason cut holes in walls, cork a bathroom, make rice, like drink
Yeah,
salt water.
it's good times, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah, salt water's only good if it's cold. If it's warm, it doesn't taste so good.
Donald.
Here comes Donald.
Donna's just gonna come in and
Good
say goodbye.
evening, sir.
Oh, Jason's here. See you guys.
I know he's kidding. I know he's only kidding.
I
see
say
you,
that every
Donald.
time, but I don't just leave. That'd be really funny if I just started leaving.
No, don't do that.
You be nice.
Would
to
it be
Jason.
funny? Would it be funny?
Yes, it'd be funny to me.
Oh, there you go. Whatever makes you happy, right?
Most of my jokes are for me only, and no one else.
I get it. I get it. Me too. I laugh at my own jokes as well. My family doesn't. They don't think it's so funny.
If I can leave somebody with a perplexed look on their face,
Hey,
I'm
Josh.
happy.
Indeed. Man, the weather turned. It's all cloudy and raining right now. It's drizzling
No,
right now.
no.
Yeah. 68 degrees outside. Like, whoa, what's
Mm.
going on with the weather?
91.
Woo. And I
91,
walked out of the building. I was
63%
like, holy
humidity.
smokes, it's cold. Oh, how much humidity?
63.
Oh my God.
Well,
hot.
this morning it was 89, it was 84 degrees this morning, 90% humidity.
Jesus.
How far are you from Stennis?
18 miles, 20 miles.
All right.
I keep saying I'm gonna go fly my drone over there, but I better not. Huh?
Oh yeah.
You know, the worst part about it is that people don't realize it, but you got Stennis right there by Slidell, Louisiana, right off of the interstate up. But then if you're in Slidell along by Heritage Park, down a little bit further, there is part of Stennis right there. And next to that is a base where they've got a lot of amphibious Marine Corps vehicles there, and that's all military. So if you're flying Heritage Park, you can stay to the right, but don't go to the left, because then you're over them.
Of course.
You know, and I realized that one day when I started to go that way, and I looked down and realized where I was going. I said, "Oh shit, I forgot all about them." I came back. I didn't. I probably would have hit a geo zone. That was back in the day, back in when they still had them.
Right.
So I make
All right.
sure I don't go that way anymore. That wouldn't go
Makes
over well, I
sense to
think.
me. No, I don't think so either.
They'd be calling me Mikey.
No,
I say Stu did it.
no, because you would fess up to your wrongdoing
I
and
would.
stop doing
I really
that.
would.
You would
I say,
take the
shoot, I forgot
instruction.
all about it. You know,
Mikey's problem was Mikey didn't take the instruction.
Yeah. This is
Mikey?
this is the ship that almost hit the bridge today.
Yep.
Yeah.
The guy was playing
What?
chicken with one of the
Yeah, Jason, we're
Sides of
talking
the
about
bridge.
Philly Drone Live. Mikey and his little pseudonym visual observer was Stu.
dude.
that didn't really exist.
Mine's Boudreaux.
Oh, wow.
And he's the guy that
Boudreaux and Placide.
got basically the FAA told him that he was flying illegally, and he just kept on doing it and kept on doing it, and dared
Damn.
them.
See how close he's getting to the shore?
Yeah. Gets even closer.
Yes.
Ah,
Well, I'll tell you what. Don't try. You went around this side.
Yep.
I wouldn't have went around that side of all you, Paul. I'd have went the other way. Damn.
That is very close.
Well, just tell me it's
Mhm.
deep enough. It was deep enough right there.
Fuck out of the way.
See, that he was so
See-
close to the bridge.
Look how close
See,
you are to the land.
being that close, I mean,
Yeah, he was close. Look at that right there. How close he is to those rocks right there.
Yep.
Jeez.
Hey, you landed it on it, huh? Looked like it. Yeah, he was kind of tight.
Are you flying a drone?
Yep.
see,
Okay,
I
which
would
one?
be scared being that close to the edge. I mean, I'm sure that you had that gradual drop off there on the shore, but when you get close in like that, that laminar flow of the fluid will actually lower the pressure and pull a boat closer to the thing it's near. It's the same thing that pulls you when you're driving down the highway and you semi goes past you, or you go past a semi and it pulls your car a little bit. It's that
Yeah,
laminar
it sucks you
airflow.
in.
Same thing happens with water, and that's what, like, that close to that shore. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, that was close.
That was a scary moment, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
You know, what a time for the skipper of the ship to be in the bathroom, right?
Mm.
Hey, he took 9 Ducalax. He couldn't help it. I put it like this: if he wasn't in the bathroom, I bet you getting ready to go.
Oh, I bet he had the squirts for sure.
That was a cheek clenching moment. Cheek clenching moment. CCM. Cheek
Yeah, don't play with
clenching.
the kid.
Clenching. Can't even say it today. Oh,
I gotta take a nice good nap when I get home, I think.
Well, I went ahead and ordered the X5.
Here's David.
I
Hey,
should be
David.
getting that Insta360 X5 sometime within the week.
Oh, great. TJ.
No.
TJ Giggles.
No.
No, what?
Well, come in, and the first thing I hear is Dominic go, TJ! No,
I
it's
said
David.
hello, David.
He said hello to you before you came on.
yep.
That's South Law, isn't it? You said before I come in. You gotta remember, Zoom is shit. Hey, everybody.
David, how you doing?
David.
Hey,
Back in
Jason,
5.
do you think he has an opinion about Zoom?
No,
Not really.
You don't like Zoom?
that was Zoom UK.
I don't
That's
like
the problem.
anything. What are you talking about?
Yeah, he's Mr. Negative.
No. Not at all. I've seen him smile.
You've seen him smile? Wow.
Heck yeah.
I saw him smile too when Laura left the room.
So how are things over in jolly old England there, David?
Okay, can't complain. Oh, well, I can actually, but
Well, how's the weather?
now that I can complain about, but I'll be back 3 minutes. Just got to sort the 3D printer out.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Mark, what's up? I'm trying to get my doctor to adjust my medication. And he's got an assistant that's asked me about 25 questions. I keep sending questions back and they keep asking me more. I said, bottom line is I'm taking the same meds and I'm almost 30 pounds lighter and I'm getting lightheaded every once in a while. So it's got to be the meds. Cut the
Well,
dosages.
This part of jolly old England is wet.
You ever figure out what happened in Liverpool?
Well, he's been arrested and charged with attempted murder and driving under the influence of drugs.
Well, it was
Oh,
the
wow.
drugs.
who's that?
53-year-old guy.
53-year-old guy decided to drive into a crowd of football supporters
Hi, Corey.
waiting
Soccer,
for the
soccer supporters, Jason. Just
Soccer
Well,
supporters.
Football,
Wow.
right?
I'm not sure if if he did anything wrong. What team were they supporting?
He did a lot wrong. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what team it is.
He was from
Even
Blackpool.
if it was Blackpool, right?
Yeah.
I would still say it was wrong, right?
Yeah.
What he did, he waited until an ambulance was called for somebody who was having a heart attack, and then he followed the ambulance through the barrier, and then used that time that the ambulance stopped to get around.
and
Well,
mowed
everyone
down a
tried to
bunch
deal
of
with
people.
that incident. He then charged the other people.
Premeditated.
Oh, wow.
Pretty good.
He's injured
planned.
27 people, including children. 2
Well, that-
Holy crap.
Well,
very serious.
maybe
There
those
was
children were
51
supporting the wrong team. I'm still
Right,
curious
50
here.
No. 51 people injured, 27, 4 of them children, and 2 of them are still extremely critical. One's a child.
What was his
Mm.
purpose? Did he have like a,
We won't
Don't
know.
say
That's
like
not
a
a court
or-
case.
he didn't say? I just want
No.
to kill people.
I don't think he had a chance to say much because he got lynched.
Obviously.
Yeah,
But
after he finally stopped the car or the truck, whatever he's driving, that
He
people,
couldn't go
I
any
guess,
further.
They were
There was that many people in the way. He couldn't go anywhere.
they were banging on his windows and everything else, weren't they?
Yeah, and then he
Well,
took off
yeah,
again,
there
hit
was
some more
people
people.
underneath his freaking car.
Oh my gosh.
There was 4 people under his car, including 1 child.
Apparently, he was driving slowly at first. And then at one point, he couldn't go any further. So he reversed back and then sped up.
Then
And that's
accelerated
when-
and rammed them.
Went from one side of the road to the other side of the road as well.
Yee.
They were lining the streets celebrating Liverpool winning the Premier League. They were doing a parade.
soccer league.
Trophy
The
parade.
soccer league. Yeah, that's right, Joe.
No, the Premier League.
The soccer league, Premier Soccer.
Guys, I think it's a bit disgraceful to actually be arguing over it's soccer or football when so many people have been injured yet again. You know,
Stop
there
mess-
was a sporting. Yesterday was supposed to be the day for sporting celebration, when the end of the season, and every team that's won something has the parades and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
you know, there was carnivals and all sorts. That could have happened anywhere yesterday. It
Good.
just happened to happen to Liverpool yet again. Yeah, but still, it should never have happened. Yeah, the police are going to have to answer questions into why he was able to follow an ambulance through.
Yeah.
Yeah, when there was already ambulances in place anyway.
Mm.
Right.
Well, the
Yeah,
other
but-
question I would have is, did he act alone or did he have an accomplice?
Yes, he was alone.
Okay.
Damn.
It's
That's
happening
so
in too many
sad.
places. People with automobiles.
Yeah, we had a 25-year-old lad got stabbed in our town centre on Sunday.
Was he a
Mm.
terrorist?
Now, they're not releasing the details, but there's speculation all over the place. There's Liverpool has a lot of fierce rivalries with Everton, obviously, because they're literally across the park from each other. And then there's Man United, who's got bitter rivals and thingy. But the guy was from Liverpool itself, so he could be a Tranmere fan or Everton fan. It could be anything. We just have to wait and see. Let the police do their investigation.
It could have been,
Get him into court and then throw him away.
could be
That's
football.
unfortunate.
I don't
could
know. You got are your courts pretty liberal over there?
No,
No. They ain't gonna take this lightly. He's banged to rights. He's thingy. He has a right to a fair trial. But if he claims mental health and drugs, then they're not gonna buy it.
Now, how old a guy was he?
53.
he's going to get 15 to 20 years.
Can only
Oh,
hope.
he should. He
Oh,
should get that.
Well,
person.
that explains it. He's 53. There's only 52 cards in a deck of cards. This guy is a joker.
But if he was younger than that, he wouldn't be playing with a full deck then.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Hey, Dominic, that
Yes,
was
it is
borderline
bad.
art joke.
I know that.
I mean,
But that
I
was funny.
encouraged him.
Yeah. Yeah, you encouraged me.
Yeah, but Art couldn't have pulled it off.
We're sorry.
You see,
All right,
despite
well, I'm gonna
all,
take off. I'm about to leave signal here when I pull into the driveway.
I
But,
think you lost
have a great
signal, so we
day,
didn't hear that.
But when
Exactly.
you consider that it was on Monday, which is your Memorial Day, it wasn't pleasant.
Mm.
Yeah, it wasn't. Hey,
Well-
Dominic, Art couldn't have pulled it off. He'd have been a little short.
Yeah.
A little short.
But anyway, what this shows is that no matter how fierce your rivalry is,
Hello,
Yeah.
Corey Mano. How
clubs
you
can
doing?
come together because Everton fans and Liverpool fans were all together, celebrating, and both clubs have had injured fans, and they're both,
Yeah.
working together.
I could not even think about doing that. Even the teams that I hate, I would never do that.
Well, no.
That's just
At least we would
horrible.
hope not.
No, there's no way I'd do it.
Pickles wants to know where Justin is. I don't know.
I don't have Justin watch.
It'd be at work.
Should be on the way home from work.
Yeah, he's probably on his way home.
I don't
Well,
think Justin wears a
been
watch.
getting home earlier. I don't know where he is.
He keeps showing Biden when he was at the academy and he fell on the ground.
Yeah.
They keep showing it, and I don't mind seeing it every time. It is kind of funny. And it keeps showing him going up the stairs and falling 3 times. What they need to do is when they show it, they need to put the funny song on there. Do 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 do. DGI put out a real good unboxing video today. A little short of the Mavic 4.
Hmm.
It's like a magician working it. He does this, and all of a sudden the propellers show up and all of this stuff, and it's really good, right? I said, that's a great video. I said, it just sucks that y'all can't take care of all your customers in the United States and find a way to grease somebody's palm to get these products into us. I said, as loyal as we have been.
Hello, Russell.
Russell.
Hi, Russell.
He said hi to Dirt Ball Don. What is that?
Mud ball, dirt ball.
Russell, what's up?
The yeah, so anyway, that ship was really close to shore, and I'm thinking something was wrong with it, but
Mm. Okay.
because he
Yeah,
went
that-
up, he went out to the anchorage out in the lake, anchored for a little bit, and then he took off back north again.
It may be that they didn't have any power and couldn't fight the current on that in the center
Hey, Dre.
I don't know.
because
Okay.
the current flows. They were going upriver, right?
Yep.
Maybe they were trying to get over to the side where they didn't have to fight the current quite as much if they were lagging on power. I don't know. I'm making guesses, of course.
Hey,
Either that or
Dre.
he had a new first mate that looked pretty good, and he was worried about her and letting her drive the ship, pilot the ship.
Well, on that bombshell, I must leave.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dominic.
Yeah, bye-bye. If you're still on in about an hour, I might rejoin.
Okay, Dominic, you take care.
I mentioned the girl, and he remembered. Gotta go check on the girl's not here.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
What you making? Ice cream sandwiches? Huh, David? It looks like ice cream sandwiches you're making.
Did you see what Dre put in the chat?
Yeah, I answered them. Did you see I answered them?
Yep.
Keep reading. Yeah, I'll watch the chat every once in a while.
Hello, Dre.
Oh, 3 times. Here we go. Let me go get my tie.
Did they turn up and clean your gutters out then?
No, everybody was yelling at me and told me to stay off the ladder.
Did they come out and look at it?
Not yet. No.
That was what I asked.
Well, how long have the gutters been that way?
Well, I haven't cleaned them since last year
So why you got all excited and worried about them today?
because they're getting really bad.
It's been
To
really
the
bad.
point,
It's
to
been a
the
year.
point where the birds and the squirrels go up there and they dig through it and push it all over and just make a mess on the side of the house.
So
They're not. They're
there you
cleaning up
go.
for
You
you,
don't have to
Bob.
worry about it. They're cleaning it for you.
Yeah, right.
I only just
At least
Thing
they're
my-
earning their keep.
So you told them to clean the gutters out. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, at least for all the food you feed them, at least they're doing something right.
I've only just cleaned my gutters out for the first time in 27 years.
Hey Dre, how's it going?
Not too
Hey.
bad. Had to come in and check on my buddy Don, see how he doing today.
I'm doing okay, I suppose.
And you know what? I'm glad more information came out, David, and I heard the reason why they put the info out because of the last incident over in the UK where
Yeah.
misinformation got put out and a bunch of riots happened. Because I was going to tell you I was contacted by Scotland Yard to investigate you about your whereabouts yesterday.
I was here. I was on
Yeah,
here.
I know you're in the UK.
Yeah.
I may be in
Laura's
the
the one you
UK,
gotta
but
worry
Mark's
about.
close. Mark was closer to the incident than I was.
Yeah, but Mark is not the feverish fan that you are.
Yeah,
Yes,
he loves Blackpool.
well,
David.
one, Blackpool were not involved. Two, it was Liverpool, and unfortunately, my family are part Scousers, so they're from that area, right? And most of them would have been there yesterday.
Mm.
Yeah, and as much as I hate them, I wouldn't mold them down. Oh, and the other slight problem: one, I don't have a car, and two, I can't drive.
Never stop others.
Yeah. But when I heard it, the first thing I said, what did David do?
Jago says it looks like David's
I
making
heard-
Hershey bars.
I had heard the
Ice
history
cream sandwiches.
on the incident that happened, was it last year or the year before, where somebody had put out the misinformation on the guy, said he was Muslim and he was an immigrant.
Yeah, that was last summer.
Yeah, last
The guy
summer
was-
was
yeah.
riots broke out and stuff, and come to find out the guy was
You see, part of that information was
citizen.
correct. He was Muslim, yeah, but he was British born.
yeah,
he was
he's British
blood-bodied.
born. The parents were immigrant, but he was British born.
Yeah, and that was stabbing kids in Southport.
Yeah. So
Which was
that's
just
why I
down
heard
the
that
road.
The police was very
Yeah, because it's the same
aggressive.
police force,
How
and
far-
it's literally just down the road.
About 20 miles south of Liverpool.
yeah.
North
Like I
of
said,
Well-
that's why they're aggressive in efforts to try to identify this guy and put that information out there before the rumor.
They
Because I had a
knew it-
guy, I was
I
playing a
guess-
game last night, and when the news broke, this guy was on one in the game. He was talking about all those immigrants suck in the UK. You need to get rid of them all. Hate all brown people. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even heard any details yet, but you already know
No,
this.
and it's not about not about immigrants, it's about assimilated immigrants. He could have been born there if his parents were immigrants, that's fine. But if there was no attempt at assimilation into the British culture, it leads to
Right. Yeah, that's always a
Right.
possibility.
that
But the
sense
way the
of
news came
otherness
out
where
last
they're
year- yeah, the way the news came out last year that he was a recent
well,
immigrant that
Mhm.
came over and committed this heinous crime.
Yeah, he was an illegal immigrant. He shouldn't have been here. He had no police background check or anything like that. That's what they were saying
Right.
and stuff.
Right,
But
but I'm
it's
saying
like
even
everything.
if you're born if you
Right.
were born in the
I
UK
tell you
or
what, this is
wherever.
where I stand on it, right? If the first thing you think about, right, when an atrocity like this happens is immigrant, right, you can just fuck right off, right?
Uh,
They're not all
well,
bad. No, they're not all
D-
bad. This
David?
this goes to show there are people in all societies that will do stupid things.
But
Yeah.
but David,
We need to, and the problem is, well, the moment you start,
this
what
this
happened
the
last
problem
night,
you
as soon
always
as you
have.
started saying immigrant, right? Unfortunately, you're going to get people's backs up that are immigrant, and they're going to go, well, if that's the way you think we're going to behave, that's the way we're going to behave.
David, the
Yeah.
problem that you have when people do point that out, that if they have a legitimate, this was an immigrant who did not assimilate, and you automatically say, oh, well, not all. Well, no one ever said all.
Well, Don, I
Yeah,
always
And this
put
is the
like,
same argument
Yeah,
you
but I
always
said
this
it's
is-
the
this is the
first
same.
thing
I
you
put it like
think about.
this. Every country got a bunch of Justins in it, and they're gonna do what they do.
Yeah, exactly. If it's the first thing you think, immigrant, or the first thing you post without getting any facts, any information, yeah, what's the point? Yeah.
Well, the
All
point
you're doing
is,
alienating
were they
people.
right?
And
The
when
point
you're
is, were they right? And it's about pattern
no, they were
recognition.
wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Then they're wrong.
But
Exactly.
the thing
You
is,
shouldn't
Don,
be allowed.
those same people never come back and apologize for their
Exactly.
statements.
Now, the
about
other night, Justin
whole
was
group of
talking
people.
about the hate laws over here. This is what they're trying to stop, right? When these events happen, people straight away. Last night, there was a lot of people posting
I would
the
rather
immigrants and it was
I would
Asian,
rather-
all this, right? And within minutes, it was all being posted. And most of them weren't even fucking British people.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
I-
stupid.
I think it would be more important to stop the killings with cars and whatnot, rather than stopping people talking. People have
You
bad
have to
ideas.
stop
That's fine.
both. You
But
have to stop both, like I said.
no,
right?
you don't have to
If-
stop
no,
people
no, no.
talking.
If I
If
kept
you-
coming, Donald,
I would
if,
say,
if every time an event happened in your area, people
Uh-huh.
was going, Donald did that, Donald did that. Was that Donald?
Uh-huh.
Donald did that, Donald did that. You get pissed off to the point where you want to retaliate. Yeah, we
no,
have to stop that happening.
no, I
Right?
wouldn't. If you're the type
Why
of
would
person that
people?
would, then
Why are immigrants going to try and integrate if every
Right.
time an event happens they get blamed? Yeah. Why would you want to integrate to that?
this is kind of circular.
It's not circular. It's
Yes,
fact.
it is. It is circular.
The argument is circular, what Don is saying, David, that it just is going to go round and around until people learn to get all or more information before they
Mhm.
make blind statements.
Exactly. That's my
where we
point.
have to stop it.
I'm
let
I'm
the
I'm a
actual
fan of getting more
crime,
information.
yeah, let the actual
Yeah.
crime be a crime, and
But
then let the investigation take
Until it's
place before we
investigated.
I also
forward
say
opinions.
I'm also a fan of free speech in the fact that you can't criminalize if you tell. There was a line from Game of Thrones where Tyrion Lannister says, "If you cut out men's tongue, you don't." You basically don't destroy
Right.
his message. You just
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
let
First
people
thing
know that you're
first.
scared of what they're going to say.
First thing first, it's not tongue. It's keyboard warriors, right? People
I-
that are posting hatred, right?
David,
for the
David,
sake
David,
of posting
David,
it.
David. Speech is speech. It doesn't matter what method
it's
you use
not.
to use it. It is.
No, it's not. If
Yeah, it
you're
is.
just going to post
Speech is speech.
hatred all the time for no reason,
Okay,
right?
so a person who has to use an assistive technology to speak, like,
No, now you're just getting stupid.
well, you
Right.
just said that speech
These
was only speech.
people-
Well, it didn't apply
No.
to keyboards.
I point again. The people that were posting the hatred last summer and last night, yeah,
Mhm.
most of them were not British, right?
Okay, and
Right. But the
Even in
point is, right? So they're here posting hatred, getting our people fired up, right? And then innocent people end up a victim.
yeah, people ended up a victim the other night. Definitely on the street
Well, no,
from the
last
car.
summer, people.
I'm talking about the people that got
ended
hit
up-
by a car.
No,
People got
last
hit by a car were
summer.
definitely victims.
Yeah, but last summer, this is why the police had to rush out last night and get that information out. Last summer, they didn't, and people were posting hatred, and then next thing you know, bloody hotels with families and children in, right, were getting torched. Staff locked in rooms while the building around them was on fire, right?
Mhm.
That is wrong, right?
Yeah, and you
Right?
should hold the
And that's
people.
where
You
I
should
draw the line. If your speech,
no.
what
it-
you're typing causes that, you are as
but
guilty
that's
as
the
the
question
people that
about
committed
causing.
it.
That's the question about causing. That comes down to it. How much responsibility goes to the person who said a thing that someone else decided to act on versus the person who did the act.
Well, my thing is like,
Anybody ask
there's
you
a
to speak,
lot
boy?
there's a lot of anti-immigration, that goes around the U.S. about how people are, really hating on illegals here, but they're not out there burning houses down and tearing shit up and killing people.
We do have
So-
restrictions on free speech here, and that comes down to incitement, but that is
I
a
think what
direct
what
incitement, not
Justin was
just.
saying there, Mr.
Because
Don.
we're not having a problem with violence just because people are saying anti-immigration stuff.
Well, this is where we talk about the evolution of people, where now that you have someone in the White House who is backing your mindset, now you just got to call the local authorities and then let them do what they do. So you basically
Right,
have
but I'm saying, like,
you
even
have
though
the heavy hand. You have the heavy hand that has the authority to issue out edicts to round people up, ship them out, all this kind of
Who
good.
who has been rounded up?
There's been several folks who have been shipped out without
Who?
due process.
Venezuelan.
Who has been shipped out without due process, and what do you mean by due process?
Due process means anyone in the Constitution say anyone who is in U.S. territory includes the waters of the U.S. and its territories has protection under the Constitution of due process for the
Right.
purpose of legal.
Right. And who got
activity.
shipped out without due process?
Those gentlemen who went to the jail in El Salvador.
No, actually, he had been
Not
he
one,
had been to
not
court
one,
twice.
Don, not one, Don, all of them. I'm not
Okay.
talking about the one guy from
And
Maryland.
these people are people. They were people who had committed crimes and were here illegally.
Uh-huh. But only
If
the
you're
guy
not here
from
legally,
Maryland.
then you don't have you don't get a court date.
No, Don, you thought about most of those people, yes, they have done crimes. Some of them did not do crimes in America except cross the border.
Okay.
So
Okay, well that's a crime.
Okay, that's a crime, but it's not a crime that equals the punishment of being deported.
Sure it
They have
does.
not been to a deportation hearing. That's the due process.
Yeah, but that guy you're talking about was at court
I wasn't
twice.
talking about no guy, Justin. I said groups of people. I'm not talking about one individual case.
But
So what
if
happens
a person is here and they didn't
Okay.
just go rounding people up at random, they were rounding people up who had committed criminals. And if they got caught up in these sweeps and they
Mhm.
were not supposed to be here legally, then where should
Right.
they go?
Okay.
They just,
What does
if they're not here
what does-
legally, they should just stay. Is that your argument?
No, I'm
they
not
should
saying
be-
to stay. I'm saying they go through the process of a deportation hearing.
Okay.
You accumulate all the evidence of the crimes they committed. And
How about
My
instead,
question is
how about
why do
instead,
they
if they're
even
here
deserve that?
illegally? If they're
Why
here
do they-
illegally,
why
how
do they
about
deserve that? Because it's in our Constitution. We may not agree.
no,
with what the
no,
Constitution
not
says, but
Why
that
did
is
your
what the
why did your
Constitution is.
ancestors deserve it?
That's why I could try to tell people. I said, if you don't know the Constitution, why do you argue that point?
They always call on the Constitution when they don't know it. That's the point.
Well, like I said, I hear a lot of people say, "Well, the Constitution apply to those who are not U.S. citizens." Well, in the
Well,
Constitution,
most
have
of
to
these
be a
gang
citizen.
members that were rounded up so far already had deportation notices.
not
on
all
them.
of them, not all
A
of them.
vast
Not all of them.
majority.
which
did.
ones?
Like I say, not all of them. So I mean,
There's
So you're lumping,
1.7.
but your point is, but you're making points about all of them.
no,
Yeah,
my
Make points
point
about
is,
specific. Make a point about
you let me
specifics.
finish, I'll give you the whole scenario. What you do is you pick through selectively, deport those who have had their process, send them. The ones who haven't, you put them in the process and let it run its course.
So
Because not-
just turn them, then turn them back loose into the United States.
No,
and let them
no,
come to-
no,
they're
no,
here
no.
whenever.
No, see, once again,
No.
you're jumping 3 steps forward and you're skipping over things. You can always hold them in custody here in the
Mhm.
States. You can hold them in custody until they have their process. Just like we hold people on no
So,
bail.
so why not,
Also, once you
why
have
not
them in
put them in
custody,
custody
you can
somewhere else
speed up
and let
the
them reapply?
process.
I didn't
Well,
hear you,
Once you
Don.
have them once you have them in custody, you can speed up the process, right?
Right.
And some people may have a genuine reason to be in the US. They may be fleeing persecution. They may have a right to be there under the UN Charter, under NATO, and whatever else charters there are, right? However, some people won't.
Most of them do
and
not.
once they failed the system, then they opt off.
Right,
Right.
but majority of the people that came up through Mexico went through 6 other countries that they should have declared.
Should have. It's like a lot of people come here.
But you're supposed
they
to-
come through. They come from Italy, through Germany, through
Well,
France.
then they're
go
not
on
doing
Well,
it
board.
you
right.
guys have a problem too.
No, they're not doing it
you're-
right. But
Yeah,
it's
'cause you're
not that,
supposed
it's
to
not
claim
that
asylum
person's
at the
fault
first
that
safe
the other
country.
countries have allowed them through.
Right,
Now,
but what I'm
Don,
saying
I
is
will
there's-
give you historical cases that proves my point. And my historical case I go on is the Amistad case.
All I can say to this is, Paul,
Are you
go and
familiar
stand in
with
the
that one,
corner
Don?
and consider what you've done.
Are you familiar with that one, Don?
Yes, Amistad, yes.
Okay. These were enslaved individuals on Cuba
Yes.
who were being transported from one
Mhm.
side of Cuba to the other on a ship.
Mm-hmm.
They overcame the crew, killed majority of the crew, so they committed a crime of murder, okay, and kept a couple alive. And whatever the language barrier was, they were trying to tell them to take them back to Africa, and these knuckleheads went north, and they ended up being in the coastal waters off the U.S. outside the state of New York after about 3 days of sailing. That was the whole argument, and that's why we have this immigration thing, because the whole argument is because these individuals were brought into U.S. territory, U.S. waters,
Right.
our Constitution, are they covered by our Constitution for due process?
That
So,
is because
yes.
they were subject to our authority because we brought them.
No, they sailed
Right.
the ship there. We didn't take them out of international waters. The ship
Right.
came into the
What-
USS territory, and then the ship was either met by Coast Guard or whoever, and we found out the extent of it. So now you have a group of people who committed a crime, because everybody said, "Oh, they committed crimes, they got to go." They committed murder of the ship crew. They were property of Portugal. The Portugal was the plantation owner on Cuba. But since they were in U.S. territory, they were given due process of the law.
Right.
And they were never sent back to Portugal. Half of them stayed in the United States for 10 more years. The other half were granted passage back to Africa. And that's why our immigration law is what it is today, based on that case.
But
But
this is a
there's a
completely different type of
But there's one thing
situation.
that could end all this, right? And we all argue about it, right? The fact is, our governments are not doing enough, right? Because if they're getting in, then Border Patrol is failing. And if Border Patrol's failing, that is your government's fault.
Yes,
Right.
it is. It was.
Yeah,
Border,
it is
border
the government.
crossings have
And
also- Once
border
they're
crossings
here,
are way down. Border crossings are way down after we decide to say you're not going to just walk across anymore and have free reign. And
You
border
say
crossings are
they're
way
down.
down.
you
They're
say they're down.
down.
The
They're
statistics say they're down.
They're down on official figures. You don't know who's coming in illegally other ways, right? Just because
Right, but
they're
at
not
least our
coming over
government
the
is no longer
border, you
saying-
don't know they're not getting a boat and sailing around and coming through.
Yeah, but at
coming
least-
up on the beach like they do over
Okay.
here.
But at least our government is no longer saying, please come, anybody welcome. At least our
No,
government is no
Our
longer
country's
saying
not
that.
doing that either. But the point
Ours was.
But the point is, right? You have to make sure if you're going to start talking about your borders, you have to protect them properly. That's down to government. Also, the other thing that government is failing on is processing them, right? Because a lot of them have been released out into the streets because they've not been processed fast enough. As soon as you have them in custody, that's it. Why are you here? Where's your paperwork? Even if they come illegally, why are you here? Where's your papers? No papers, do one. Right?
Right.
Simple as that. If
David,
don't
you and
know the
I-
dog,
I don't
do
know
your
why you're
background
yelling.
checks. You
Why are
know,
you
in
yelling?
this day and age, you can do a background check in 24 hours.
David,
Right?
why are
Get
you
'em
yelling?
gone.
Why are you
Yeah,
yelling?
but the biggest thing though with background checks, And some of these third world countries don't keep any records on anybody.
Yeah.
And
They don't
Well,
have
David,
birth
ir-
certificates.
you and I
irregardless
agree
of all
100%,
that,
David, is
Yeah.
that is not the proper way to do the border, but that's the way the border was being done. We do have a process, and people who are bypassing that process and were welcomed in and encouraged to bypass the process for
Yeah.
the last
But
decade.
I want to point something out, right? We have been concentrating for years on the border between England and France at Dover. That's what we've been concentrating on. The boats coming across there, right? One gangland member said, well, they're watching the couple of hundred coming across that thing. They haven't been watching the ones coming from Belgium and Norway. Yeah, that are getting
Right.
in undetected.
Right.
Right. And that's
Right.
the point.
That's David. That's exact same as our border. There are
Exactly.
illegals that
So
come.
while you're stopping
David,
and coming over that
David,
land
stop yelling.
border,
Stop yelling,
you don't know
David,
where
please.
I'm
David,
not yelling.
David, you're yelling and
I
you're
am not
interrupting.
yelling. No, I'm
You
not.
have been.
I'm talking.
Oh, shut.
Oh, we're
Right.
done.
If you want me to yell,
This
I
is
can
my
yell.
question. Go ahead,
David,
David. I want you to finish.
Well,
Right.
I was actually in the middle of saying something when he interrupted me. I was
Okay,
saying
Don,
our
go ahead.
borders are the same way. The southern border is where we concentrate a lot of our energy on, and a lot of illegals come across the northern border. But the southern border is where the majority of them cross. Therefore, you triage out your borders. Which border is the biggest problem at this time? And that's where you have to focus your energy. And for people to distract and say, "Oh, well, what about Canada?" Well, yeah, Canada people cross, but you have to go where the most problem is. It's just like people talk about over policing in crime-ridden neighborhoods. Well, that's where the crime is happening.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is, I'm not talking about the people coming from Canada, right? I'm talking about those that were not naturally coming over the land border, right? They got there and they're like, we can't get past, right? How do we now get round? Well, we just get a jet ski, or we just get on a boat, we just get a dinghy, or whatever, and if they row out and they end up in Florida or somewhere else, yeah, because everyone's concentrated their eyes on the land border. That's what we
Right.
were doing, concentrating ourselves on one border while everyone else was coming through the other way.
Right,
Right.
David, it is called a circle of defense for a reason. There's always ways around, and the person defending the circle has to monitor all areas, and the person coming through only has to focus on one specific point. And there's always going to be places where people are going to exploit those weaknesses.
Yeah.
You have to
But-
focus as a defender on those areas where you can do the most good in your purpose.
Well, actually, what you need to focus on, and our government has finally woken up to this, they've started dealing with the dodgy landlords that are allowing them into their properties and using, you know, one room with 14 people in it and stuff like that. They're dealing with them, and they're also dealing with the human traffickers. They started to take them down. Yeah, it's ridiculous that this has only just started to happen.
Yes, it is.
Because
Now,
a lot of
this
them,
is my
we're in
question.
agreement.
You guys finished? You guys finished? I want to ask a question. I've been reading some
Yeah.
stuff in the chat.
yeah, go on.
Because everybody's talking about, oh, they come here legally, they should go out and never get all this kind of stuff. My question is simply this: do you believe in the Constitution of the United States? Because I know Joe is taking an oath. I
The
have taken that
Constitution of the
oath
United
several
States
times.
is not perfect.
Well, I didn't say it was perfect, but I asked you, do you believe in the Constitution of the
I believe it
United States?
exists. I believe it's not perfect.
All right. Good. So my thing is this: is it the rule of our land?
Of course it is.
There you
It
go.
is the rule of our land,
It's the rule of
There
our
you
land.
go.
but it is
So
but it
even
is
Now,
though-
open to
what's-
interpretation.
Even though it's not perfect, we abide by it, and this is
So
part
which
of our
section says
rule of
it
law.
covers
This is
everybody?
part of our abiding by our our how we do things here.
Well,
Like
that's why.
sections that you don't like the sections you do like, and you live
Well,
with it.
Jerry, that's true, but the people who have been deported, there's an argument to be made, and it has been made that it is legal according to our Constitution. The other side says no, it's not legal according to our Constitution. It will have to be taken up by the Supreme Court to decide.
And it
But
has.
but it was
Doesn't the
also
Supreme
the
Court
It's free-
blocks
that's
a lot
why
of
it's written into the
deportations?
Constitution. That's why I brought that case, because that case is one of the principal cases of how we deal with immigrants.
Well, okay, it was decided then this is a new case and it's not exactly the same case. You
But
you
you
are
gotta-
Like I say, this
You're-
I'm
you're
not talking
making the
about
argument-
individual cases. What I'm saying, Don, is this. This is how our Constitution was formed. I think that was back in 1867 when this incident, I think it's 1867 when this incident happened.
yes,
Okay.
and
So
that
that was
incident was
that's how
decided.
that Fifth Amendment, which is covers under immigration, the Fifth Amendment. A lot of folks talk about how we got these Bill of Rights and all these amendments,
Mhm.
and half the people, I would say 85% of the American population has never read the Constitution, even down to the first
Okay.
amendment.
Well,
first couple
Drake, it
amendments,
still comes.
They just
It still
go by
comes
what
down
they
to.
think they've heard.
Well,
It
and
still
what
comes
big-
down to applying that to this situation. Our government has said that that does not apply, that they have acted legally. The people who are on the other side of it, people like you, are saying, no, this should apply. And now it'll have to go
Now-
before the Supreme
now,
Court
here
to decide
again-
whether or not that law applies.
Well, the biggest thing you guys are missing too is he invoked the Alien Act, which was actually approved by the Supreme Court when it went to the Supreme Court.
Okay.
So what
with
he's
that,
doing
Justin,
is legal at the
the
moment.
Alien Act can only be legally used when the president is giving War Power Act authority.
Well,
But
he
the
declared an
Supreme
And
Court
invasion.
held it up.
And only Congress can give him War Power authority.
Well,
that
that's why
hasn't
it
been
goes
done.
before the Supreme Court to see if he acted illegally. Has
Right,
it been
but like
before
I
the
say,
Supreme Court
in
yet?
the
The
in the
Supreme Court held
Constitution,
it up.
It spells it out.
You're making an argument that should be taken before the Supreme Court.
But the
Like I say,
Supreme
they're
Court
gonna have
upheld
to
it
because
already.
The president is trying to take it upon himself, but it's
Did
already
the
written
Supreme
in the
Court did the
Constitution,
Supreme Court
and
uphold it?
Congress is
Yes.
already supposed to give the president War Power Act.
That's great. Now,
other tools that come with that, like the
now did the
Alien
Supreme
Immigration
did the
Act.
Supreme Court support this action?
Yes, they upheld it when it went to the Supreme Court, the Alien Act. They
There you
said
go.
No,
because
they
they
did
did-
not build it. It's been
they
on
did a
stay.
slight pause for about a week or so and went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said, yes, it's fine. He can legally use that act. And then they continued on from there.
Mhm. And like I tell Randy, once again, it's in the Constitution. Just because you may not agree with it or like it, it is in the Constitution.
Yeah, but
And
it's
the
not up to
Constitution
you
is
to.
not just for U.S. citizens. It is
Right.
for any persons who come into the U.S. territory, including
But
the waters.
once
of the-
once again, that is your interpretation. The Supreme Court
That's
has a
not my
different interpretation.
interpretation. That's the court.
No, it is. No, the Supreme Court has a different interpretation.
On what? If somebody don't get a due process, they come into the U.S. territory?
On this case, on these
No.
cases that we're talking about
all
today,
cases. This is general
We're talking
cases,
about
not
these-
just
we're
particular one.
we're talking about these cases, these
No,
current
I'm
cases.
talking about all cases. Because when
Right.
you make a decision at the Supreme Court,
Okay.
it covers
Right,
all
but
cases.
the
But
cases
the
were
Supreme Court
covered.
says that these cases do not apply. That does not apply to these current cases. The Supreme
Right,
Court
be-
says that.
because the cases were done under the Alien Act. that
So do you
he
believe that
invoked.
Do you believe the Supreme Court has that ability to make those
I'm gonna have to
decisions?
look it up because I don't think they made a decision on it yet.
I
I need to go check the court document.
I don't know either. I'm just listening. I'm taking you and Justin at your word.
Well,
Okay.
one thing I
I
see
know they
about
put a
your
stay on it.
The one thing I see about your constitution, right, is when it comes to one thing, it can't be changed. When it comes to another, it can. You want to change it
What?
on the immigration status, but you can't change it on the gun status. And that's the point. Yeah, because everybody reads it differently.
But David, it absolutely can be changed. It has to be changed through Congress.
And Congress hadn't done nothing.
Exactly.
And the laws are interpreted by the courts. So if the courts determine that this application of the Constitution does not apply to these current actions by the president to deport these, as he calls them,
Corey.
invaders.
Okay,
Corey,
so
I've got a problem with you moving to Mars.
so
By
the
the time you
Supreme
get up there, there'll be a fucking Tesla driving around.
Let Justin
Okay.
talk. He's about to get because he picked up
okay, so
Friday.
the Supreme Court has not decided on it yet,
Thank
but they
you.
have lifted the injunction that was
Okay.
stopping the deportation.
Okay, that's what I said. I know they hadn't
So I
decided.
know
lifted the
that I knew
injunction.
that they
So-
made some kind of.
So we'll find out as soon as the Supreme Court decides on. We'll find out
Mhm.
based on the Supreme Court. That's how our system works. Our system
Right.
isn't just we
Now,
say one side
that
says,
takes
one
my
us
side
whole,
back.
says.
and that's been my whole point, Don, because I'm seeing these things in the post here. Randy said the Constitution only applies to U.S. citizens. That's not
Right.
true.
But Dre, that now takes us back to the point where all this started was you shouldn't post accusations and misinformation that can destroy a chance of a fair trial when incidents happen. Yeah, you should always wait for the evidence and let the courts do their work. End of the matter.
And then Randy says here about if someone breaks in my house, am I going to let them stay there? I say, you know what? If you break in my house, guess who is the judge, jury, and executioner? Because you're on my property.
And the
And I will make a
Constitution says you
decision.
have the right to protect your home.
That's right. That's in the Constitution.
And I wish that fucking law was over here, because if somebody breaks in my house, yeah, I can use reasonable force, but unfortunately, I still get arrested. I still have to go through the procedures until a judge decides whether what I did was reasonable force. It's not my fault that the nearest object I found was a baseball bat and smashed the fucker's head in. You know,
Like I said,
that's
I've
the
taken
rules.
that oath too many times in my life. And I live by that oath to this day. That the oath is not for me personally, for my own protection. That oath has been meant to me as be protecting the rights and liberties of others. It is not just for my own protection, my family's own protection. It is me to protect the life and liberty of others. And I've taken that oath at least 4 different times in my life for a specific reason. And I can tell you right now, everybody who has served in the military, everybody who has served as a peace officer knows there's a lot of laws that we don't like. There's a lot of rules we don't like, but we follow those orders as we took that oath as we're supposed to.
Well, Justin, I watched Final Destination this afternoon.
Oh, did you?
That is one weird film.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's a remake. I'm sure I've seen.
It's just another. It's like a whole storyline. There's like 5 or 6 of them out now. And yeah, if you watch the first one, they kind of all somewhat interconnect with each other. So the crazy part was the very beginning of the restaurant scene. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy.
I thought the barbecue was different.
Yeah, that was crazy. The barbecue scene.
Yeah.
I watched Ricky Stenicki last night.
Who?
Ricky Stenicki.
Ricky who?
Ricky Stenicki. It has a John Cena in it, and it's who was it? It's one of the guys who did Something About Mary. Fairley? Is that who did? Anyway, one of the directors
That
of
was
Something
Ben
About Mary.
Stiller.
No, the director.
Oh, the director. Okay. I don't know who directed.
I believe it's the Fairley brothers, and it's one of them that made this movie. And it's about 3 friends when they're little kids. They accidentally set fire to somebody's house, and so one of them pulls off their jacket and they write Ricky Stenicki on the collar and leave it there, so the police would blame this fictional kid named Ricky Stenicki. And it worked. Okay. So they said, to the best friend we never had. And throughout their lives, they kept a Bible of all the lies that they told. We're doing this because of Ricky Stenicki, or this is Ricky Stenicki. And then it comes down to they're having a bris for the one guy's kid who was born. And he had missed the birth because he had been helping Ricky Stenicki. And, Ricky Stenicki was going to be in town, supposedly, but that's part of the lie. Well, he can come to the bris. And so they had to hire this actor, John Cena, to play the part of Ricky Stenicki. and he's this alcoholic who they had met in Atlantic City, and he did a music show where he did musical numbers, but he would change all the musical numbers into songs about masturbating.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And
Oh,
it
Lord help
is that section is hilarious. He's just, and John Cena is really, really good. He's really, really funny.
I don't know what channel you be watching, Don, but
This
it
was
is
I'm
on
telling you.
Prime. This is a
It's on
Prime.
Prime.
Yeah, Amazon Prime. If you got Prime, look
I
up
got
Ricky.
Prime. I don't. What's the name
Look
of this
up
movie?
Ricky Stenicki. It is a dumb, fun movie.
Oh wow.
It
I
is a little predictable, but
Yeah.
it is really fun and enjoyable. It's a throwback to like those '90s comedies where they didn't try to sugarcoat things, and they were allowed to be a little bit edgy. And
Mhm.
well, I mean, if you look at Something About Mary,
Yeah,
getting
something about
the
Mary crazy movie.
I
the
never
hair
watched that
gel in
whole
her
movie.
hair.
It's like you watch it to the point that Ben Stiller zips his pecker in his pants, and that's about
Yeah.
it. It's time. The rest of the movie don't make it. Doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, it's that type of humor. But
Uh,
I thought it was really good.
Corey, probably, I think it's like 20 minutes each way at its furthest point. So, yeah, the game would be unplayable from ours. Just saying.
John Cena is a great actor. He's been in a million movies. You just didn't see him.
I wouldn't say great actor. I would say he has gotten better over time.
That's a joke.
I mean, he's getting better.
Him
I
as a
think the worst part is that for a while there he started getting typecast, and I think he has evolved above that. Just like Dwayne Johnson really came a long way fast.
I think John Cena is a better actor than Dwayne Johnson.
Well, he was a pretty good actor when he
The
was
Rock
in the.
plays the same character. Well, yeah, The Rock plays the same character every single time. Have you seen John Cena in Peacemaker?
No, I'm not sure. I
That
just
was an
saw him and
HBO
Jackie
series.
Chan in a movie over the weekend. I had to turn it off. It's about them trying to protect some village for some bullies who stole all the water, all this kind of stuff. And John Cena is an ex-special forces guy who didn't go back to America, and he stayed in a little village, and he's kind of like the protector of the village and all kind of dumb stuff.
Yet another
Hidden Strike.
Seven Samurai.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
Yeah,
I
that
remember the
doesn't
word
look
strike
good.
was in the title.
Yep. Another interpretation of the Seven Samurai.
The funniest thing with John Cena is the prank call. You guys ever heard that?
The reason why I like The Rock, because I know he intentionally brings some of his old WWE wrestling
Didn't John Cena
persona
die?
into his roles, just like that.
No,
I think the best movie I've seen him in was the one he did with Ryan Reynolds.
no, John Cena's still
Talking
alive.
about this thief.
There was an American wrestler that Cena or someone that died many years ago.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
a lot of them die.
You might be talking about what's his name, the one that killed his family and everything.
I'm not sure. I just remember everyone's going on about John Cena.
Round
The
tip of
wrestler
my
died.
tongue.
John Cena was that you can't see me.
Yeah, you did this. You can't. That's why I made the joke. He's been in so many movies that you haven't
Yeah.
seen him in.
Chris
But
Benoit.
you know what I'm talking about with Ryan Reynolds and Dwayne Johnson, and I think he's got Gal Gadot, whatever her name is.
Gal
She's
Gadot.
in it too.
You might be thinking of Chris Benoit.
No. Definitely John Cena. Everyone was crazy over him.
Unless it was one of those death hoax things.
I think that's one of the best movies Johnson's been in.
He's definitely still alive, though. But I know Chris Benoit, he was the last one I remember dying. I don't really follow wrestling like that. But he was the one that went nuts and killed his family. And then
There's Owen Hart who fell during one of the things. He was supposed to be lowered down from the ceiling of an arena, and he fell and died.
yeah, that was years before Chris Benoit, too.
But
But
I
I
think
mean,
Chris
there's-
Benoit was his thing
You're,
was
you're right,
like
Justin. It
steroids.
is a hoax. Apparently, he's died 27 times over the years in online hoaxes.
Yeah, there's a lot of those that go around.
I just remember everyone being upset about John Cena dying. I was like, man, but I'm not into American wrestling, so
Well, it's in the Constitution that you're allowed to die as many times as you want.
pack it in, Mark.
Oh, John Cena was pretty good in what was it? Was it Stepdad too? Had Mark
Yeah,
Wahlberg.
but I was like, I put that performance
was pretty
right
funny.
up there with Vin Diesel and The Babysitter.
Yeah.
He was pretty funny in that movie.
Everybody made groaners. But anyway, if you he is in this movie, he's supposed to be kind of a bad actor, but and it's a stupid throwback comedy. And if you like those type of comedies that came out in the 90s, give it a shot.
Okay, here's the movie, Don. Red Notice.
Red Notice. Is that the
Yeah.
Santa Claus one?
No,
No,
is-
that's the one with Bruce Willis.
no. Red Notice is one with Ryan Reynolds, Gail Galat, and Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Santa Claus, Red One.
what was the one with Bruce Willis? It was Red something. Was it just Red?
That was Red, RED, for retired whatever emergency whatever.
Okay, yeah. I got those two.
But
mixed
Red
up.
Notice, it's a good flick. I like it. It's very entertaining and it has a little quirky twist to it. I guess there's talk of doing a Red Notice 2 coming up.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it? Oh, it was pretty good. It was promoted quite a bit on, I think it came out on Netflix.
Came out in 2021.
Yeah.
I like Bruce Willis in Expendables. He was funny in that movie. I mean, he had a little small role, but when Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone came in the church. He's like, "What's wrong with him?" "Oh, he's just an asshole. He wants to be president."
I guess Schwarzenegger is talking about doing a season 2 on that last little season thing he did, where his daughter's a CIA agent, like he was.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean. I started watching the first couple episodes. I didn't get into it.
It wasn't bad. It was classic Arnold with the cigar in his mouth.
I can't wait till Sylvester's new season comes out. Tulsa King. That's what I'm waiting.
I know.
Man, that
I still
last
have not seen
episode-
Tulsa King.
Oh, you gotta
That-
watch it. It's good.
And that's on. Is that on Prime?
Oh,
Yeah, it's on Prime.
Dang it! I might have to get Prime.
I'm gonna have to watch
A short
all
time.
of. I have to watch all of Wednesday season 1 again before season 2 comes out.
Yeah,
Now,
Tulsa
Mark,
King
did you
was really
watch
good.
Mobland?
What?
Did you watch Mobland?
No.
Oh, okay, with Pierce Bronson and Helen Mirren and Tom Hardy.
No.
I thought
It's a good-
Tulsa
it's
King
a
was
good
on
watch.
Paramount.
It's a good watch. Well, it's
I'll
on
have-
Paramount / Prime together because you watch it on Paramount, you get the ads. If you watch it on Prime,
Yes,
no ads.
sir.
I watch it on IPTV.
Yeah.
No ads.
Our Primer's got adverts now.
Well, I have the Prime with no ads. Paramount
We don't get a
Plus,
choice.
I get
It gives you-
those lump in the 90-second ads.
Yeah, that's what we get at the start of Amazon. Anything we watch on Amazon Prime, we got like 90 seconds of ads,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, Tulsa
which
Okay.
is,
King.
bad.
which is
It's on
same as
Paramount.
Disney.
yeah, I've never
But-
had Paramount.
Yeah.
But Netflix adverts piss me off because they're always in the center of the freaking thing you're watching.
I guess I
Wait.
could sign up for a free trial of Paramount.
It's worth it. We get it
Why
for
not?
free over here anyway.
Yeah, most of my subscription was like Disney, Netflix. I got the higher one with no ads and Atmos high quality sound and 4K.
Yeah, Tulsa King's really good though. It's right up there with like Breaking Bad, Sons of Anarchy, all those shit.
Gentlemen,
Action packed type shows.
Your HBO, is it HBO that's doing the new Harry Potter TV series?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are going to get it before us,
Yeah.
even though
I
it's
didn't
been
even know that was
recorded
a
over
thing.
here.
Well,
It-
we don't have HBO. We have Max. But
The
they won't be
casting
changing the name back to HBO Max again.
Yeah, the casting is questionable on the new Harry Potter. The
Is
kids, they showed the kids today, and the kids, they all look a little old.
They don't
for-
look anything like it, do they? One,
No, I was
The
saying,
only-
is
the
this the
nearest
next
you're getting-
generation? Are these the
yeah, the
kids
nearest you're getting
of
is the
Harry
gingerbread
Potter
club.
and Malfoy and Ginny and whoever else?
No, it's supposed to be it's supposed to be the Harry Potter kids. It's supposed to be Harry Potter and
Harry Potter at a young
Hermione
age? I
and-
mean, he started off at what, maybe 10, 11 years old in the first movie.
I think Harry Potter was he supposed to be like 8 or 9?
Yeah, he might have been even younger.
Yeah,
So how much younger can you get?
Right. Well, hey, they hit gold with the kids that they got when they made the
Right.
movies.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, like I said, the kids don't match the profile of the characters. You know,
Yeah,
They just seem old to me.
yeah.
When
I thought
I
it was
saw
in-
when I saw the adverts for it, I thought it was the next generation of like Harry
No,
Potter.
it's it's
No.
it's a remake.
But they got a play out here in LA that takes that theme of Potter's son, Malfoy's son, and now they're best friends.
Yeah, it's
And
called The
the
Cursed
play-
Child.
Yeah, and in the play, they're gonna go back and try to correct history by bringing up the past of Cedric, whatever his name was, the original, whatever the guy's name was, the name that should not be spoken.
Oh, but the thing is, though, too, is I would definitely go into it with an open mind. Don't try to compare it to the movies.
No, you can't.
No,
Yeah, 'cause-
they're supposed to be telling a more accurate to the books story.
there's
Is what they
something
it
more
was what they
detail to it.
promised.
Well,
And
There is
that'd be
more-
cool
more
'cause-
detail.
well, my thing is when you have movies, everybody knows the movie's always going to be abbreviated from a book
Right.
because you just don't have it because of time limitations. So now you create a series. So my thing is, all you can do is fill in the gaps between each movie. Which
Well,
each
they're
movie
not
covered a-
between. It'd be filling
Well,
in the stuff that was left out of the movies. Yes.
Well, I'm thinking the point that because each movie covered a school year for the
Yes.
most part. So
Mhm.
what are you
Yeah.
going to cover when he went home and
No.
did
They
battle with his
No,
cousin?
they'll be adding in stuff like you didn't have Peeves in the movies. Peeves was a ghost that haunted the
Mhm.
castle. There's a ton of stuff that was in the books that was not included in the
Yeah,
movies,
there
which
is.
rightfully so they got rid of it because it's fun stuff, but didn't have time for.
Mm.
And they'll
Well,
be able to.
Yeah, they'll be able
Focus
to
more on
drag out. Yeah, they'll be able to drag out certain scenarios a little bit more because, like Dre said, they're not constrained by time.
Yeah, I'm kind of upset though. The kids they look a little bit older than what they should be to be starting year
Yeah,
one.
I wonder if they're going to be
Yeah.
hour episodes.
Oh yeah, they were supposed to be 11 when they went to Hogwarts.
11. Okay, maybe these kids look okay when they.
No,
These
but
kids
I
might
don't
look
think,
okay.
I don't think they are. I think they all look about 14, 15.
I don't think they look that old. I was thinking they looked like
I would-
12, 11. That's how old I thought according to picture, and I thought that the other kids were more like 9 when they started.
Mm.
No, they went when they were 11.
Okay, then this might be
They
good
did.
casting.
They would have been better off going with the next generation of kids, I think. 'Cause it's going to be a hard. Everybody's always going to be comparing.
It's going to be a
characters.
big time comparison.
Oh, it's going to be like
Yeah.
Star
Only
Trek Next
typecast
Generation.
that I've ever seen spot on though was Big Bang Theory with Sheldon's brother when they got him in, got the character for Big Bang Theory after young Sheldon had already started. They got that spot on. Yeah.
Uh,
But then when
Oh,
you
you
look
talking
at
about the
when you
little-
look at
little
the
kid
no,
named
Jerry,
Mima,
Sheldon?
Yeah.
Jerry O'Connell came first.
Yeah, Jerry
Was it-
O'Connell was the original Big Brother.
Yeah,
They
Jerry
had a
O'Connell
trial show.
showed up first, and then they cast young Sheldon, and they did a great job of casting a kid to play him as a younger version.
Yeah,
Yeah. But the you know, when you look at Mima, you just cannot believe they're the same. No
Uh,
matter how you look at it.
No,
Or his mom.
but what gets me is I watched 2 seasons of Young Sheldon before I realized who Meemaw was.
The best one was when it turned out Sheldon's dad was Leonard's bully.
Yeah, yeah. It took 2 series before I realized that was Annie Potts, and it's like,
you didn't catch that from first time she walked at the door?
no.
Oh, dude.
But I hadn't seen her in forever, and I still think of her from Corvette Summer
Oh,
and
wow. You go back to
Ghostbusters.
see. I guess you didn't watch Designing Women.
I never watched Designing Women, so I didn't get
Yeah,
to see her as
that's
she
why she was
aged.
so familiar to me because my wife I used to
When
like,
is
like
the,
to watch Designing Women.
And I don't know, Corvette Summer. Oh,
Has
she
the
was so cute
season
in that movie. I
started of,
loved her.
Sheldon's brother and his missus? Forgot what it was called. They were going to call it. They did a spin-off. They're doing a spin-off, aren't they?
Something First Marriage.
Yeah, his first
Georgie
marriage.
and
Yeah, it's already on one of the subscription channels. You can watch the whole season.
Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage.
Yeah, Georgia
Yeah, it's
and
not
Mandy
over here
might
yet.
be on Paramount. But I think they did a pretty good thing of at least in the actress portrayal of the sister. You remember when she first came on Big Bang Theory?
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at the little sister in, the other show,
No,
same
it's
good
Sheldon.
attitude, you know.
It's Sheldon's twin, his sister.
Yeah.
They're twins.
Crap! Oh, what a bastard!
Missy.
Yeah, but
Miss-
one of them has to be older.
yeah, one of them's actually, I think she's actually older by a minute or two.
Hmm.
And she holds that over his head always.
Mhm.
So you got a lot of things to do this summer, Mr. Mudball. And I don't want to
Well,
dig you down around the garage too much. You better get in front of that TV and catch up.
hey, Donald Peacock just announced this month that they will be doing a second season of Ted. So they said,
Awesome.
but they didn't put out a release date though. But they did confirm there will be a second season.
So,
Good.
Georgie and Mandy is now available in the UK, but it's on Amazon Prime, and I've just told them to fuck off.
Still holding that grudge, huh, David?
Well, he gave me a free trial of Amazon Prime again, and I was like, "Yeah, go on, I'll take it." Bought a load of filament, and then I
Right.
thought, "Nah,
Lay down.
not worth the $8.99." And now I'm gonna have to grit my teeth and maybe pay for 2 months so I can watch it.
Yeah. That's a problem. I just can't justify. I don't watch. I don't consume media like I used to.
I'm the same. I hardly watch TV now.
Well, yesterday I watched for Memorial Day, I watched Full Metal Jacket and I watched 13 Hours.
And then they don't even give the release date for Tulsa King. It's sometime in
I don't
late
know 13
2025.
hours.
13 Hours was the attack in Benghazi.
Yes. Okay. Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh, they're
And
already
I tell
doing
you, I
the
mean,
production.
I watched Full Metal Jacket on an old DVD that I had of it. And I was like, man, the quality of DVD. And we think that was the knees bees.
Oh, yeah.
But now I watched 13 Hours off of Prime, and it was just like so crispy. It's like I could just touch the screen.
there are a few of those, and I'm wanting.
Touch the sweat on their face.
having watched movies, and it's like there's certain movies that I watched a ton of that I would love to get on Blu-ray because I have not seen them. I saw them on film once, and the rest of the time it was always on VHS.
Yeah.
Like Pink Floyd's The Wall. I would really like to see that on Blu-ray in good quality.
Yeah.
Heavy Metal is another one that I'd like to see a high quality Blu-ray. Now, Jeremy, have you seen Hacksaw Ridge? Hacksaw Ridge?
Yeah, I have it on Blu-ray.
Yeah, that's a good movie. I watched that
Yeah,
again a couple weeks ago.
Yeah,
It's like, dang, that was a good movie.
Some I've watched a lot. Like, my wife says, "Oh, you gonna watch a bunch of war movies this weekend?" I'm like, I just watched When We Were Soldiers a couple weeks ago, and I said, "I want to watch that." And I watched enough of Band of Brothers. I could be in the actual platoon myself, and I watched The Pacific too many times. So it's like I haven't watched, I say Full Metal Jacket maybe about 2 or 3 years. I was gonna break out Apocalypse Now.
Which version?
I have the Redux version.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah, I have that.
I've
I
got
think
it.
I have the
I've got it in the
original.
other room.
I have the original on VHS, and I think I got the Redux on
The,
DVD or
pro-
Blu-ray.
the thing I love about that movie,
I gotta jump off
and
a
I
controller.
can only watch it
Okay.
maybe
Hey, Justin.
maybe once every 5 years or so, I can sit down and watch it, is because it takes you from not knowing what's going, and it makes you crazy. It makes you as crazy like he is going down that river, and it just kind of by the end of the movie, I just feel a little twisted in my head, like, what did I just do? What did I just go through? It's a great movie. It's a beautiful movie.
Yeah. I mean, the movie itself, like you said, there's so many different parts of the movie. That's why I put it as parts, where that part could be a movie itself.
Mhm.
Just like the whole scene where they go to that one bridge and they're fighting across back and forth, and half the people are smoked out, coked out, or whatever else, and you don't know who. Like I say, who's in charge? I thought you was in charge. Instead of an old chef that don't get off the boat, never get off the boat.
Don't ever get off the boat. That
Never
is
get
the
off
rule.
the
Don't
boat.
ever get off the boat.
Yeah.
Get off the boat.
I mean,
You're gonna get.
they can
you're
make
gonna get eaten by a
the
tiger.
movie itself could be just about the boat.
Yeah.
Never
The
get off the
slow
boat.
part was the USO show right in the middle, but it was
The
kind of
USO show,
necessary.
that part wasn't bad. I thought the slow part, with the girls at the tents, and then the parts where they in the French plantation owner,
Yes.
I understand why they cut that out of the original movie, but
Mhm.
that really drags it out.
Yes. And like I said, the USO, it feels like it has to be there.
Mm-hmm.
It
The
is
actual
that
USO
midpoint,
show
and it is
was a
that
good
little
part.
rest. It's that little rest that to the soldiers that are watching the USO show,
Mm-hmm.
the girls are coming in, and that's their link to the world. Well,
Yeah.
these guys coming off the river, just seeing the other soldiers, seeing everybody
Mhm.
else, that's their link to the real world. They've been on this river and it's like it's their link to the world, and so it's kind of a little mirror there, and
Mm-hmm.
then they have to get back on that boat,
Yeah.
and it continues. It's like, yeah, I haven't watched that movie in probably long enough that I could watch it again.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was on my list. I was thinking about watching that later on. I said, "Now I'm all tonight."
It is a slog,
Yeah, it is. It is.
especially the Redux.
Yeah. And like I said, a lot of times I just like to watch it right up to the point where they come in on the helicopters in that little village. And I'm done. I can turn it off after that. You smell that, Captain? You smell that?
Oh, the
Smells
smell of
like
napalm in the morning. It smells like credits.
victory. Smells like victory.
Actually, it smells like, I don't know, victory.
Victory.
Yeah, I
Then
don't
he
know.
comes out and says, "You know what? This war is going to end one day." And he doesn't say nothing else.
Uh-huh.
Oh man.
He's a good actor too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well,
I just watched him
everybody.
in Deep Impact. Was it Deep Impact? Yeah. The Doomsday movie, Deep Impact, where
Yeah.
he's the aging astronaut with the young crew.
Um,
Both
was that
both
Deep Impact or
yeah, both
Armageddon?
Deep Impact and Armageddon came out within the same year, and it was almost like
Are you
he
sure that
came to
wasn't
the box
Armageddon that
office
he was
first.
in? Was he in Armageddon? I think he was in Armageddon.
Who? Bruce Willis and Billy Bob Thornton were Armageddon. Uh,
Oh yeah, that's
uh,
right.
Deep Impact had Morgan Freeman as president,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little kid who discovers the meteoroid,
Yes,
the beaver,
that's right.
the beaver, and that other scientist crashes Jeep
Yeah.
trying to tell everybody.
Yes. Yep. Yep. They can. I get the two confused. But
Yeah,
yep.
well, like I said, they came out the same year, and Armageddon had a little more star power and got most of the publicity because Tay Leon was the news reporter in Deep Impact. She was a little hot chick because she was fresh off the Bad Boys franchise movie.
Hmm. Interesting. Yes, Elijah Wood was in Deep Impact.
Yeah, he was the beaver kid who actually discovered the Deep Impact had better graphics. I don't know. I need to watch Deep Impact on a high resolution uh, system because I never bought the movie. I do have Armageddon on Blu-ray, and I've watched it enough time on other media outlets.
I've only seen probably both of them once.
Mm. Yeah.
Well,
Joe, you look quite busy over there, partner.
I've been talking to my son.
How's
Yeah,
it going?
he hasn't heard anything yet. Funny part about it today, a bunch of his friends have been reaching out to him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's going tonight with a bunch of the cops, eating
The
burgers over
new
at the house they're
department or old
cooking,
department?
the old apartment.
Mm.
They're going over there. They can't believe he isn't on a job yet. Like this.
Well, I could tell y'all, a month or two, I would say 3 months is average. A month or two would be, about right for what we call lateral movement from one department
Right.
to another.
But his big pushing moment was Sunday. This last week, him and his girlfriend have been going at it. In other
Yeah,
words,
I heard you mention it on another
yeah,
show.
she wanted her space again after saying that when they were apart, how she cried to sleep every night, not being around him. But then she
Mm-hmm.
needed her space again, and come to find out she was seeing a guy.
Mm,
You know, so he told her, "I can't do this anymore. I'm done." You know,
right.
he says you
Well,
needed
you
to
and
make
I
up
were
your
saying that
mind.
a while back when they split up.
Yeah, so he made up his mind and told her, "I'm done."
Yeah.
And he talked to my daughter-in-law because Nick got him but before Nick went on the ship this last time, he
Mm-hmm.
said, "Dude, just give it up and come up here." He said, "New Bern Police Department needs people right now. They keep putting ads out and
Mm-hmm.
all of this stuff." So he put in an application for New Bern Police Department up there, North Carolina, and they contacted him and said, when he said, "We like everything. We'd have to do interviews. When are you coming up here? When could you start?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said, "I could be up there I'd leave here around the 13th or 14th. He said, I could start the 15th or 16th whenever I'm there."
Yeah.
He said, "Well, we'll contact you." She said, "Let me set up the appointments. We'll give you the appointment dates." So, and all of a sudden his friends started calling him,
Mm-hmm.
and one of his friends he ran into a friend a few minutes ago. He went to high school with, that was a football player with him, named
Right.
Justin also. And he says, "Yeah, I'm getting ready to move to North Carolina." He started laughing. He says, Me too. He's moving to North Carolina 2 days later, about 40 miles from where Justin's gonna be, taking over the family landscaping business.
Hmm.
He said, if it doesn't work out for you at the police department, come work for me.
Yeah.
So he might be, as soon as Nick comes back, they're gonna set up it sounds like he's gonna be leaving here around the 13th to go up there.
Yeah.
He put a bunch of his stuff on Marketplace to sell. He's sold his sofa today, you know. So he's done. He's going. So I know he's going.
Okay.
So I'm gonna miss him, but I'm glad I keep my apartment by myself. You know, but you know, 'cause I was thinking
Ulterior
they got
motive.
2 apartments right next door, one right next door to me. The people moved out, and it'd be the time they finally put somebody in there hot again, and then Justin moved back in here, and that would mess it
Yeah.
all up.
I thought you were in a senior facility.
Oh, no.
55 and above?
No,
Oh,
they got Cracker Jacks, all kind of ages here.
oh, wow.
Yeah, I wish I was a senior. I wish I was. Like I said, when I was here, when I was like 15 years ago, the girl that lived across the hall was 24 years old and worked for Bonefish Grill. She was one of their district managers, and she'd bring me food and knock on the door as she was going to the pool with a black bikini all the time. So
Mm,
we go hang out at the pool.
Oh,
Yeah.
retro perversion.
Yeah. Hey, I can't help it when you got all of this, you know.
No, no. It's all in your head. It's all in
All
your
I
head.
know is she
All I know is all in your head.
maybe she just felt that if I went and hung out with her there, she'd be safe. That was all right with me.
Yeah, you were doubling as her daddy.
I didn't care.
Mm.
I'm just glad she never called me daddy. I used to get a lot of bang bang shrimp.
Oh. Let me figure out what I want to do for dinner.
So now I gotta face the fact that the only person that's gonna be in the area is my ex-wife and my daughter. And the only time they ever talk to me is if they need something. So but it's a good thing because when Nick goes on the ship for the year, Victoria's still planning on coming back here. And Justin, until he gets an apartment, is gonna be staying in the extra room they got at the house they own. So he'll be there to take care of the house when they're not there. And actually he could set it up to where he stays there for the year until Nick gets back and then gets his apartment. So
Mhm.
it's gonna work out for him if he does it right. So but I think he's okay.
Good.
I think it's a move that he needed to make one way or another, especially with the girlfriend. And he's
I
just
mean,
been afraid to make the move.
personally, I'm glad that he's cutting that loose and putting it behind him, but that also can come back to bite him in the butt applying for another agency.
Well, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Depends what kind of attitude she has.
Hey.
Well, the good news is, like I said, he's been wanting to move, and he didn't care. He wanted to go to Georgia, then he wanted to move to Tennessee. He wanted to go to Texas, but he's just never had the ambition to really do it. And he said it was just he said technically it's always been unsure of going. But he says now he's more sure than anything because he knows he got a place to go to right now. He's got his brother there.
Anytime I'd say it's just getting out of his comfort zone. Anytime you got to move,
Yeah.
and a lot of unsure things. You know, you don't know the town, you don't know the people. All you do, you leaving all your friends. And like you and I in the military, you had no choice. It didn't matter.
Yeah, how many times we had to do that, you know?
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
That was my life as a little kid. And my dad was in the Air Force when I was born, and we moved about. Let me see. I was born in Missouri. Then we went to Michigan,
Thank you for leaving.
Oklahoma. Then we went to Canada and came back to California. All that before I was 8 years old. Yes,
Gray,
Don, I am from the Show Me State.
did you hear me? Did you hear me say thank you for leaving?
Yeah, as I said, I am from the Show Me State.
I think we discussed that before. I think we had talked about that before the year.
Oh. Man, I tell you what, it turned out to be a pretty good day, except the wind is like whipping out there.
So
It's
Paul, what you
windy.
been up to today?
I just been doing ships and doing whatever I can do.
As long as you didn't get
How
on
many,
that
four?
ladder, bro, we are all relieved. And I'm glad you picked up the phone and found out you get it done for free.
Yep. Well, as soon as they call me.
Well, I mean, if they say they can do it, they're gonna find somebody to come do it because that's what they get that money for.
Yep.
They get grant money.
They said
do
they get
things
grant
like
money
that.
and donations. Yep.
Right. So
Yep.
it's just a matter of them. They're gonna find a contractor close enough by to come by and get that job. He'll get paid through them.
All gonna depend if he gets out there tomorrow and he doesn't have patience and he says, "Well, they haven't called me yet," and jumps up there.
Mm.
Well, that's a possibility. I almost went up there today.
Yeah, you see? Don't listen to us. You missed the ship.
Yeah, I know that's a K Barker, but when I went down and it just got done doing 2 ships,
No.
and when I went down, I wanted to get the K Barker, but the K Barker was waiting for the pilot boat to exchange crew on board. So I said, "To hell with it." So I came back. Dre, did you
Man.
see my video I posted today about the near miss with the ship?
No, I saw you said something about the Edmund somebody you caught. I think that was the name of it.
Let me see
Yeah,
if I can
the
find
captain was playing chicken with the dock.
it. Yeah.
Uh-oh. That never ends well.
Well, it almost didn't end well today.
Mm.
Underneath, if you look at the tail end of it at the back of the ship, when he coming underneath the bridge, I'd say he
Uh-huh.
was no more than about 15, 20 feet off the shore. If it was that much.
And this is one of the barge ships that close to shore?
Ship.
Oh. I said they risk of running aground.
You should have been leaving that new first mate alone. Telling you. Brenda said, "Patience, Paul."
Yeah, I know. Brenda's always after me.
Yeah, I know you ignored that.
Now, Paul, when Brenda says patience, she doesn't mean you make yourself an hospital patient. Just to be clear on that.
Yeah, Brenda called me today and told me to stay off the ladder.
Listen to Brenda.
Because I
She knows
think
what
I
she's
think
talking
Boone
about.
Boone called and ratted me out.
Well, you got the squirrels up there getting up there, digging it out and throwing it out with the birds. At least they're finally doing something, earning some keep.
The other problem you've got, Paul, is Boone gets very excited, and if you're on that ladder and he jumps up, yeah, you're going to damage your property, your ladder, Boone, and yourself.
And your ass. You don't have to be nice. Tell him the truth. Go
And
bust his ass
your
and fall
pride.
off. Whatever they brought.
You know what you really need, Paul? A dose of the wind we've had the last few days. That'll clear your gutters.
You think that'd do it?
Well, it's washed off the Blackpool seafronts away.
Oh, Lord. TJ flew his drone between his legs.
Yeah. Luckily, the bit of Blackpool seafront that has washed away is not part of my walk.
Okay, Dre, here we go.
American Spirit.
Yeah, that's the ship, Dre.
Look at how close to shore he's getting.
Oh wow.
It needs a freaking wash.
And you see where the bow's at. That's where the tail and the stern ones are at when it gets over
That,
there.
that's what I'm saying. Because when you try to turn it, it ain't like the whole ship turns at one piece. It's like
Yeah.
a big swing.
Yeah, he had to go straight here because if he'd have started turning here, he would have
Right.
went aground.
Yeah,
He
the
could
bow
have been on top of Paul.
Yeah, that bow would have been right against that bridge.
Look at him getting closer. Look at that. That's got to be about 15, maybe 15 feet.
Yeah.
I'm talking about from the midpoint.
Normally they're right out here.
Yeah. You guys have like a, I guess when you import, they call them a harbor master or something like that.
Yeah,
Just
I reported it to marine traffic.
Yeah, so they're supposed to be like the safety officers of the port area. And that would be like a safety violation right
Here
there.
it is. Here it is up here.
You can see how close the stern is. Watch.
Man,
That's got to be like 15 feet, maybe 20 feet.
he could have practically run aground right there.
He's definitely churning up.
And then look, he went and landed his drone on there. Look.
He was that close. Paul could have stepped out onto it.
Hey, Paul, you should have had a speaker on the drone. You could have got next to the thing.
Well,
how
see,
citizens
here's where I was,
Citizens
right over there
arrest.
in the seawall, and he came right by there. Look at how close he
Now,
is there.
when we say he could be a she, and pilots are of, multiple.
He was playing chicken. He was all right.
Well, he might be playing chicken, but it was a stupid game of chicken.
Don, you cooking tonight?
Don't know yet.
Oh, okay. Don't let me put no pressure on you.
No, I texted my wife, asked her what she wanted to do. Still got leftovers from the other day.
Yep, go home and eat some more roast that I grilled, and still got some ribs in the pan.
Sounds good.
I got a couple brats left that no one else is going to eat.
Got some tater salad.
We had a
Baked
ton of
beans.
potato salad that when my wife forgot to even pull out the other day when everybody was here. We were fixing food for a bunch of people, and then people started canceling due to illnesses, or one neighbor kid who was going to come down, he canceled. So we had all this food. We actually didn't. We stopped because we had other food that we went ahead and just put in the freezer. It's like we'll get to it. But we still got a ton of leftovers.
There's where I am right there. That's my car.
Hmm.
That's right there. It's about 40 feet.
Yeah, but it keeps getting closer. This is the camera that's up on top of the convention center.
Yeah, he's down about 30
Oh.
now.
And they
Yeah,
even,
we didn't know where you flew from, Paul. We didn't know where you parked. We never showed
yeah,
us
they,
before.
I guess, who was the Streamtime Live people
Yeah,
clipped
yeah.
this, and so even they knew that it was an close
Yeah,
call.
they title it Incident American Spirit passing port here and lost control and almost hit the wall. There's how close it got right there.
Boy, that's close. That's got to be like 15 feet.
That's scary. Well, the reason I just see that they posted this, I want to see how close the up above the stern is to the bridge is angled out like that to the center, you know.
We got plenty of room.
But we see how close he is to shore there right now. They was swinging.
You know, lucky boy.
Yeah, he had plenty of room.
Yeah, they always say got plenty of room till you hit something.
Got a point. But you can see he had plenty of room there. He was good. Thought that was the Mexican Navy all of a sudden.
Well, folks, it's almost time for me to skedaddle, so I'm gonna sign off here.
You're
Yeah.
leaving.
Yeah, I
you
got
done
about
direct?
9 minutes to go.
Yeah, till he finishes work.
Yeah, I was done with that before lunch.
Yeah, he's finished work. He just sitting.
Well, Dre, thanks for coming in.
Anytime. But I got nothing to do in the morning. I'll see you guys in the morning.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing of it is they always appreciate you putting in your 10 cents on top of their 2 cents, you know?
Well, I think mine's more like a quarter cent. It might be even a Canadian penny.
Okay.
I won't be on at all tomorrow.
Where are you going, Mark?
I'm going to my cousin's funeral.
Laid to rest, huh?
Uh-huh.
Well, the weather looks like it's going to be a bit nicer down this way, Mark.
Yeah, she was 60. Died of a rare blood cancer.
Oh, wow. Sorry to hear that.
We've got to go about 230, 240 miles down to the other side of London.
Okay.
So
Well, Mark, you be careful
Like
yourself.
a 4.5, 5 hour drive there, then the funeral, and then drive back. Oh, my sister's driving, but
Well, you be careful, Mark.
we will.
Don't be getting up on any ladders.
No, I shall try not to.
Okay.
Dominic
Right,
said he was
Papa.
coming back.
What's that?
Dominic said he was coming back in about an hour. He didn't come back.
Yeah, he didn't come back, did he?
Now, question, Paul. Am I allowed to climb ladders?
What's that, David?
Am I allowed to climb ladders?
Well, Laura is.
Laura's your ladder gal, isn't she?
No. Laura's just TikTok, 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 TikTok.
You can climb the scaffolding you've made.
She's a TikTok princess.
Scaffolding.
Yeah, you said you made scaffolding either side of your lithophane.
Oh, yeah. That was ages ago. I've printed 48 trams since then.
What's that going to take, like 24 hours to print whatever the hell you're printing there?
No, this has got another 1 hour, 9 minutes. They are
Well-
Blackpool Trams. At first they were going to be little key rings for my charity event, but the first batch didn't work, so I offered them to Blackpool Tram Town, and they'd asked if I print some more out for them. They're going to sell them as Christmas decorations.
Oh. Well, you think you got enough time to get it completed?
What, hour and 8 minutes, easy.
No, I'm talking about Christmas decorations. It's
Yeah,
only,
this is the last batch.
it's only May.
Yes, but these places have to plan way in advance. It's not a case of they can wait till October like we can for Christmas shopping and go out and get it.
What do you mean wait till October? I do my Christmas shopping on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I do mine on Boxing Day
Mhm.
when everything's reduced. Oh, look what they can have next year. Could you get any closer to my head?
So Don left too?
Yep.
So what
He
do you
said
think,
adios.
Joe? We're only down to 9 people watching. So I guess I'm gonna call it.
What you gonna call it?
Hasta luego.
Hasta la vista.
Thanks to
baby.
everybody for being here. We'll see all of you again tomorrow morning.